Hello and welcome to the Media Box, where I'm joined by Evgenia Kara-Murza, who's accepted the Václav Havel Human Rights Prize on behalf of her husband, Vladimir, detained in Russia, a prominent opponent of Vladimir Putin and the war in Ukraine. Thanks for joining us. I have to ask you, first of all, what's the latest news you have about your husband?
Vladimir has recently been charged with high treason, which means that he's now facing up to 24 years in a high-security prison. And I think that the Russian authorities are doing it to silence all those voices in the opposition, all those voices brave enough to speak out, those who refuse to be intimidated and refuse to be silenced despite all odds. And the authorities clearly see that such people as my husband continue speaking from behind the bars. The fact that they're in prison does not prevent them from continuing their work. And they want to silence them, of course, because they are powerful, these voices. They're powerful voices on behalf of Russian civil society. If they want to isolate my husband, if they want to throw him in jail and keep him behind bars and prevent him from speaking out, then I'm going to continue his work. And hundreds and thousands of Russians are going to continue the work of opposing Vladimir Putin. And we'll do this for as long as it takes us to bring the regime down, because this is the only condition for that region to be at peace with itself and with its neighbors. The only way for Russia to become to get a chance of becoming free, truly free, is for this regime to be gone.
We heard you talking in your speech and messages from your husband talking about the Václav Havel Prize. Tell us more about what it means to both of you.
I am deeply grateful for this show of solidarity, for this clear signal directed at the Russian regime that wants to show the entire world that the entire Russian population stands behind Putin and his regime. But this award is a clear signal that the global democratic community sees a difference between this oppressive, bloody regime and the people that this regime has been oppressing for over 2 decades. All those political prisoners in Russia, all those protesters who end up in prison, beaten up, raped, violated, they so much need to see support and solidarity of the global democratic community. They need to see that they're not alone in this, that someone has their backs, that someone's out there and cares about what happens to them. Because these are going to be the people, those journalists, those human rights activists, those ordinary Russians who refuse to be silenced, they will be the ones to rebuild the country after the regime collapses. And if we want a democratic Russia, if we want a free Russia, we need to support those members of Russian civil society that will be willing to do this very hard, to take on this very hard job of rebuilding the country after the collapse of Putin's regime.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me here.